down in Afghanistan. No one on board survived, but questions still haunt the families who lost their loved ones on that very tragic day.
Among those killed, Navy SEAL Arron Vaughn. And since his death, Arron's parents have been sharing his story to help remind others to honor the sacrifices that our troops make each and every day. Karen and Billy Vaughn join us now. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for being with us, and I know that this is tough on an anniversary, and we thank you for sharing your story and wanting to get out your message first. Billy, tell us about your son.
Well, our son was a great American. He was a Christian. He loved God, his family, and his country in that order. And I can tell you, if he were here today, he would still be doing what he was doing. He loved what he was doing, fighting for America, being a fearless, extreme warrior, and that's what he always wanted to be.
Mm-hmm. You're both warriors. Karen, what does this day mean to you as well?
You know, in all honesty, today is like every day. He's gone, you know, and
we love you. And we love him. You have found the courage, nonetheless, to push forward in ways that many Gold Star families across this country struggle with. How do you pick up and move forward with that? How have you've done it so courageously for so many, for so long. How have you two picked up and said, we're going to carry on Aaron's courage?
you know, I tell you, I felt like I remember on this morning 5 years ago, me just saying, I will not let this pain be wasted. And I'm sorry. And I just, you know, we knew what Aaron believed in. We knew the America he died for, and we've watched it, you know, over the past 5 years shift so much that it's almost unrecognizable. And so I think we both feel, just as parents, that you know, if we don't fight with every bit of strength we have to revive patriotism, to revive love for this country, to revive the founding principles of this nation, he died in vain. And I mean, I don't say that as a blanket statement. I know a lot of good has come from his life and his legacy, but we have to fight for this country. And Pete, you know, I've said it many times, we fight culturally the battle that he fought kinetically.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
He's a warrior, and so were you.
And you actually helped set up a meeting with some Gold Star families in
Right.
Donald Trump after the big controversy, the big back and forth with him and the Muslim American Khazir Khan who lost his son.
Right.
Why did you decide to set up that meeting, and what came of it?
Well, I felt like, you know, I had an opportunity to do it, and I thought we can sit with possibly the next commander-in-chief of this country. And I felt like it was just a no-brainer to put a bunch of families in there so he could see a cross-section of who has sacrificed. We put sons in there, we put a sister in there, we had mothers and fathers, and they got to ask their questions, and he got to respond, and he got to see the real cost of freedom, you know, up close and personal.
Indeed, Karen, and many people have made a lot of that last week. Billy, what did you see from Donald Trump, speaking to Gold Star?
I'll tell you what I saw. I was very pleasantly surprised at how candid, how quiet, and how respectful he was. We just sat down around a big table. He listened. People voiced their concerns. They talked about the sacrifices that their sons and their families had made, and what we expect out of him if he is to be our commander-in-chief, and what we want him to do. And we want him to name the enemy. We want him to fight the enemy. We want him to allow our warriors to do what they were trained to do. And we want him to honor the sacrifice that this administration and the other main presidential candidate have dishonored for the last 7.5 years, not just of men and women who've left it all on the battlefield, but of veterans who have come home, of families, and were less secure than we were on the day that we went over there. Families at home, military families and citizens, less secure because of the policies of this administration. And there's a record there for the Clintons. Remember Mogadishu. Remember, Bill Clinton wanted a small footprint. I was able to speak with Sergeant Matt Everson just a couple weeks ago, and he went through a lot of what happened there. And he remembers Mr. Clinton and the small footprint and what it cost Americans. Well, Mrs. Clinton has been there now for nearly 30 years, and it'll be a continuation and not worse. Yes,
of course, we saw the same light footprint in Libya and Benghazi and elsewhere, and parents who have talked about that haven't received the same treatment as those Gold Star parents at the DNC. But on this day, to bring it back to Aaron, how do you channel his sacrifice every day? How do you speak, and how would you, in this environment, to Americans today who are struggling with the trajectory of our country, what would Aaron's message be to Americans out there?
Aaron's message would be, this is the greatest nation on earth. and fight for it. That's right. That would be his message. And, you know, the way we honor him primarily, and I hope you don't mind me throwing in this shameless plug, but we started an organization called Operation 300, and we host adventure camps for kids who have lost their dad. Arron left behind 2 little babies, a son not quite 2 and a little girl that was only 9 weeks old. And you know, we pair them up with father-age male mentors and let them have the weekend of their life. It's not a grief camp. It's not a sorry. It is fun. And so that's the way we've chosen to channel who he was and to honor him. Yeah.
And I know you have a book as well, Billy.
Uh-huh.
You trade. Thank you. I know you brought some T-shirts as well for the crew.
This is